Yo, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Earthlings and Martians. Greetings, go-getters and snoozers, taxpayers and tax leeches. Welcome to the intro episode of my new podcast called In Further Depth. In today's episode, we will cover a plethora of topics. Such topics will consist of what is the objective of the podcast, what encouraged me to begin this podcast, the back decorations of what I have on this wall, how you can benefit as a viewer, including prizes for today's episode, so stay tuned in for that. Extended services that the podcast can offer for you. What is the end goal of the podcast? A quick introduction of who I am, your host, and I will also introduce you guys to Bam, which is a co-host, the engineer, and the producer. So Bam, remind me not to forget about you. And last but not least, I will be giving a special shout outs for those of you who have helped me through my journey. Thank you.
As soon as the sun comes out, I cut them all loose and work's my excuse, but the truth is I cannot believe you don't wanna be high like me, never really know why like me. You don't ever wanna step off that roller coaster, be out alone. You don't wanna ride the bus like this, never knowing who to trust like this. You don't wanna be
So before we get started, I do have a cool little soundboard that costed me a pretty penny. I'm not going to be using it all the time, but I decided to get my money's worth out of it on today's episode. And you can also win a prize because of it. So throughout the episode, I have sound effects and short clips from songs and movies. At the end of the episode, send me a message of all the clips that you can guess where they came from correctly. Whoever gets the most clips correct, you get a $50 gift card. Dinner is on me. And then I'll give you the options of what are the gift cards that I have available. Whoever gets more than 10 of the sound clips correct, I will send you a $20 gift card. So once again, that's getting the sound effects correct and the intro song. The intro song has 2 songs, so keep that in mind. One is a bit muffled, but you can still make up as to what songs they are if you know them. So send me a DM with your answers, and we'll announce our winner by May 12th. How about for Mother's Day? We'll do that. Now, let's get to it because we have so much time and so little to say.
Wait a minute. Strike that. Reverse it.
The objective for the podcast will include audio, videos of interviews of ways we can grow by personal development, including how to set ourselves up for a successful future, how to mentor, and how to coach the youth and our peers to help steer them towards a successful path, how to hold ourselves accountable for our mistakes and learn from them, and to hear stories from people letting us know what we can do to become better individuals within. At the end of the day, this is all done with the intentions of creating a domino effect to help out future generations and those who will one day go through experiences that we have already encountered. And thank you guys all for constantly asking me, yo, when are you going to release a podcast? And from the bottom of my heart, you guys,
Sorry for the wait.
but I just had to fine-tune it, or at least I feel like I fine-tuned it, even though I still had a lot of growth to do. So back to the main objective, it is to give ourselves a platform to speak our mind, pass knowledge and life experience to the future generations, or people that could possibly going down the path that we've already experienced. Some of the topics can be very difficult to open up about, if I'm being honest, but if the guest is willing to discuss it, let's do it to educate the viewers about whatever the topic is that we're discussing. People who I plan on having on the show consist of, but is not limited to, but it consists of social workers, sheriff deputies, therapists, counselors, first responders, people who volunteer with local organizations would be pretty cool to have on here, car mechanics, investors, entrepreneurs, and other leaders amongst our workforces and our communities. I also plan on having people on here who maybe once attempted to commit suicide, people who got caught up in the wrong lifestyle and ended up behind bars serving their time sentence. People who were in the foster system as well would be pretty cool to have on here. Or anybody who dealt with a certain situation that you want to bring awareness towards and come through, and we'll have a discussion on it. Maybe you went through a bad breakup and you want to tell everybody why they should never date again. Well, come out here. Let's talk about it. Or maybe we can discuss conflicts that's going on around the world. Come through and enlighten us. I also plan on having friends come through every so often. We'll just have topics about controversial issues and debates as well. I love debating. Getting historians to come onto the show would be pretty cool, so we can talk about power-hungry leaders and genocides that occurred in the past with you nerds. And for those of you who come to the podcast, I do have a goodie bag that I will have available for you as a token of my appreciation. I do have shirts that are currently being made. I have stickers with different logo styles. And the goal is to continue to invest as much as possible into this podcast. There's this story that struck real close and near to my heart, so everybody shut up and listen. A man is walking down the road, and he falls into this hole. And the walls are pretty steep, so there's no way that he's going to get out, and it's pretty deep in there too. So while he's in the hole, he sees a doctor pass by, and it's like, hey, doctor, I'm stuck in this hole. Can you get me out? And the doctor's like, yeah. So the doctor just writes him a prescription, throws it in the hole, and goes about his day. And then the dude inside the hole, he sees a pastor pass by, and it's like, hey, pastor, I'm stuck in here. Can you get me out? And the pastor just recites a little prayer and then goes about his day. And then the guy inside the hole sees his friend pass by. His friend's name is Juan. And it's like, yo, Juan, I'm in this hole. Can you get me out? And Juan's like, yeah, dude, I'll get you out. So what does Juan do? He jumps inside the hole. And the dude's like, what are you doing here? Now we're both stuck in this hole. And Juan's like, yeah, but I've been here, so I will show you the way out. So that's pretty much if I could put what the purpose of this podcast is into a story, that is a purpose. Let's help people out with the life experiences that we've already encountered. So next, a quick intro as to who I am. I know you're probably wondering. Who am I? Whoa, what's my name? My name is Juan Carlos Cabrera. I've been getting my butt kicked in life since 1992, and I share birthdays with LeBron James. I was awarded the Person of the Year in 2006 by Time Magazine for my contributions to this planet, you guys. Thank you. Whoop, wrong one. I am a follower of Jesus Christ, though I do struggle with my faith from time to time. I will admit that I'm definitely always working on it. Isaiah 6:8 is one of my favorite passages. There's many things that I can work on, such as being a better relative, neighbor, podcaster, driver, and so on and so on. But keep in mind, he who is without sin amongst you, let him cast the first stone. So, chill out. I'm a little messing up right now. I currently reside in Southern California, born and raised. I live in a small town called Jurupa Valley. It's like the youngest city in California. It was established in 2011. I currently have a few occupations. I am a union worker and I operate heavy equipment for an underground pipeline company at this time. The goal is to break away from that field and work on being a drone operator here pretty soon. So very shortly, I should be starting courses to train on that. I am a USCCA certified farm instructor. USCCA is an acronym for United States Concealed Carry Association. I'm training to be a supervised visitation monitor just as a side gig. I am a stockholder of dozens and dozens of companies. I do volunteer work for the community. I just left a few programs that I was volunteering with, but I still have a few that I dedicate my time to. Believe it or not, but not many people know about the volunteer work that I do. I usually keep it all on the low. I'm not sure why. Literally, no one in my family knows about what I do, and only a few peers of mine, friends of mine, know about what I do. So don't think that I'm making my whole personality and I'm just constantly bragging and boosting my ego up about it. And all of this info will probably be new to a lot of you as well, but it's a lifestyle that I've lived for quite some time. Some programs that I no longer volunteer with consist of I was doing volunteer work as a suicide crisis counselor. Our goal was suicide prevention, of course, and to give out information or referrals to give brief supportive counseling to clients who are in emotional distress. I also serve with TIPS, which is an acronym for trauma intervention programs. Our services will be requested by any first responder, hospital personnel, paramedics, the coroner's office, the sheriffs too, and the goal is to bring emotional first aid to survivors of the family or individuals involved with a traumatic event. I hope it's a service that none of you will need anytime soon, but if such service is necessary and such event does occur, it's pretty cool that we have great volunteers still putting in work to this day 24/7, even on the holidays, to make the worst days of your life a little bit better. This service is no joke. I did it for over a year, and it helped me to see life in a different perspective. Now, it's amazing to see the community come together to volunteer and to handle the worst days of people's life. It's such a blessing. So special shout out for all of you who do volunteer work still. It's a blessing. many people live their entire life wondering if they've ever made a difference in the world. But yo, these volunteers don't have that problem. So kudos to you guys. One program I still volunteer with is called Voices for Children. We are a designated CASA. CASA is an acronym for a court-appointed special advocate. So we serve the county of Riverside, and this pertains to being a big brother for the youth involved with our court system. While we work on parent and family reunification, if possible, but until that happens, we make a commitment of being on this journey with our youth until they age out of the system. I've also served with the Tree People, and we planted hundreds of trees throughout the Western Riverside region these past few summers. I also take it amongst myself to remove graffiti that takes place in my area, and I like to keep my living space pretty clean. Our church is another place that I dedicate a lot of my time to and helping them out every chance that I get. There's this saying, and it says that people don't love Jurupa Valley because it's great. Jurupa Valley is great because people love her. So definitely take pride in where you come from and your community, guys. I highly recommend that we do that, and this world would be a lot better if we all just put a little effort into it. So a little bit more about my life resume. I enlisted into the service when I was 17. The last day of class during my junior year in high school, I went to a recruiting station that was behind the house that I lived on at the time in Moreno Valley. Within 3 weeks later, I already had my boot camp date and was in the delayed entry program. So I started my senior year already knowing what the future had in store for me. And a few weeks after I graduated high school, I left to boot camp. I served between the years of 2011 through 2015, successfully making it to the rank of sergeant in the Marines. I completed my 4-year active duty contract, being stationed in 29 Palms. Let me get the lights on. My job title, or MOS, was 2146, which was a main battlefield tank technician for the M1 Abrams. 5 years after I got out, they disbanded all the tank units in the Marines, and now the Marines don't have any tanks. They got rid of all of them, so it is safe to say that I am a dying breed, you guys.
Damn, they don't make them like this anymore.
No, they sure don't. I did 2 trips overseas. I came back and figured it's time to go on to bigger and better things. But if any of you have served in the past, you probably know how bad they'll treat you once they know that you're about to get out or once you're about to leave the service. So I ended up convincing my chain of command that I was going to re-enlist. I even had pending orders to work with the reservists. And a few days prior, I revoked all of it and just told them, hey, yo, I'm out permanently. Now, I'm definitely not making my military background I don't make my military background my whole personality, not even one bit. Many people who I talk to don't even know that I served, unless if they bring it up, then I'll bring it up. I don't have shirts or hats or nothing about that mentions my experience in the service. So I promise not to annoy you guys with that. There's this joke that's always proved itself to be accurate, and it states, how do you know when someone is a veteran? Well, give them 15 seconds and then they'll tell you. So after I got the service, I randomly started working at Victoria's Secret. I thought that would have been the most hilarious transition. I only stayed there for like 2 weeks, though. I started to pursue different trade schools afterwards and just expand my horizons on stuff that I was learning. So one of the trade schools, the first one I attended was to be an HVAC technician, HVAC-R licensing. HVAC stands for heaters, ventilations, air conditionings, and refrigerations. So after I got my license for that, my certificate, I became an auto technician. And then after I got those certificates, I decided to get my Class A license. After I did that, I started working with the apprenticeship program to operate heavy equipment, which is what I'm currently doing now. I am a person of many hobbies. Such hobbies include listening to podcasts, which gave me the idea to start my own. I pretty much listen to about 100 hours of podcasts every week. I kid you not. But the speed is a little bit more amped up, so it's faster. Sometimes I'm listening to a podcast in my earbuds while I have another one displayed on the TV. So I'll be watching 2 at the same, or covering 2 podcasts at the same time. I am huge on books. I'm usually reading one and having another one on standby, or I have one in my room and I have another book in my car, and I'm also listening to a book through my audio apps that I have. So my goal is usually to cover about 5 books a month. And behind me are some of the books that I thought had great meanings and great significance. So if you're looking for a book to read, just hit me up. I have some here to choose from, and I have more on the back shelf. Those didn't make the wall this week. I love traveling as well. I collect pins for my suitcase, and I have about 18 states left to visit. The travel game plan pretty much consists of I fly somewhere, I get a rental car and drive as much as possible with stoppings at many points of interest that I have for whatever area I'm currently in. I love booking Airbnbs. To me, it's pretty cool. My Airbnb rates are very good. No tainted reputation right there. My goal is to cover the entire front of my suitcase. I'll show you guys. So this is my suitcase, and then my goal is to cover. I have a few pens that are missing. They got snatched up on my last trip. Putting the baggage on top of the overhead compartments and stuff. So my goal is to cover the whole front of that suitcase with pins. I'm not sure if it was in the picture, but my goal is to cover the whole front with pins until TSA would no longer allow me to run it through the X-ray system. And here are some traveling tips, you guys. So if you're planning on traveling or flying somewhere, definitely book midweek or in the morning. The airports are a lot less chaotic at these times. Get yourself an American Express Platinum card, you guys. They have the most free lounges throughout the United States in the airports. And the hats. So these are some of the hats that I have as well. I don't know why I grabbed them. Oh, I got them to get that out the way for that. We'll talk about that afterwards. I'm pretty sure there's a part in there for that. So definitely get the American Express Platinum card. They have the most free lounges. Oh, that was scary. Definitely get the American Express Platinum card. They have the most free lounges. And the Chase Sapphire Reserve card is one of the most used throughout the United States that will help you board a flight early. So as a perk of being a card holder, you get to get in the airplane sooner than those that are non-Chase Sapphire card holders. Pack snacks for sure. You can take a ton of snacks on the airplane with you. Just don't take any liquids. Take an empty water bottle and then fill it up after you pass TSA. Use mobile check-in for sure. I know it sounds pretty like who doesn't do it, but there's many people who don't do it and don't know about it. And we'll definitely always try to travel with a carry-on. It makes things a lot more easier and smoother and faster. But if you do check in a bag, throw in a towel or some tracking device in there, or an AirTag, and that way if your baggage gets lost, hey, you could somewhat track it. And take a picture of your suitcase as well, because a lot of them get lost during transits, or other people when they come out onto the conveyor belt, the carousel, people grab the wrong bag. So definitely put like some identification markers so that you know exactly which one is yours, like pink tape or orange tape or a big little clip on or something. You'll be surprised at how many bags actually look alike. I'm a huge fan of being outdoors, and I have a husky, and if you're thinking of getting one, I advise that you don't. Every morning he wakes up and he just looks at me, and it's just like, and I'm just like, oh, what did you do? The day just started, but he gives me that look that really lets me know that he kind of like chewed up something. If you are thinking of getting a husky, you'll let me know. I'll let you take mine home. I could guarantee you'll bring them back within a few hours. So I'm constantly looking for places to take them out to as well, or to do like moderate hikes. My favorite place to pass the time is pretty much to be at any local brewery and socialize with my friends and chit chat and catch up to see what are they doing in life and what's new. I love being at the shooting range as well, practicing my skills on how to be a better and safer gun owner. And I love teaching others how to sharpen up their skills as well and teach them drills. Another hobby that I have is we're always gathering. I'm part of the Rivian community, and we're always gathering, just taking the trucks out for entertainment. And we'll chit chat too as well and network. I love doing woodwork, building stuff and just getting creative with scrap wood that I have laying around. And so far, I haven't lost any digits. So that's pretty cool. I make this logo that's over my right shoulder. It's a circle about almost 2.5 feet in diameter or circumference. It's a big big circle with the logo on it. The small letters, I didn't do it though. I just bought those letters. It was cheaper to buy them than to make them, because to make them it's very difficult to make such small letters. Some unusual, and this table too. I make this table, not the best table, but it'll suffice for the meanwhile. Now let's talk about some unusual hobbies that I have. I love making shooting targets as well. To me, it's pretty therapeutic to just paint them. I have silhouettes too, so I just put the silhouette over, paint them, and sometimes I'll sell them to other farm instructors and easy money. Splitting wood too. I've been on my lumberjack phase for a while. I don't know why, but I find it very soothing and therapeutic as well to split wood and just get a little workout in, get the blood flowing. So I've been constantly just swinging the axe nonstop for like the past few weeks. So if you ever need any wood or shooting targets, because you are a listener of this podcast, I'll give them to you for free. So just contact me. Now, don't take advantage. Do not take advantage of this either. Don't come out here and just try to run my whole inventory dry. You know, givers need to set limits because takers rarely do. So if you need something, just let me know. And if I do have some on inventory, if I haven't sold them all at the time or restock my inventory, we'll work something out. And filling up the trash bins, that's another funny hobby that I have, but I find it very soothing to like just when trash day comes, I get them all filled up and just declutter the house or clean up the leaves and weeds. Three concepts that I feel that represent me or what I stand for consist of self-defense, making yourself a harder target to crime and perpetrators, investing in ourselves and investing with our finances, and serving the community. Now, don't let my life resume make you think that I'm a really nice person and a very polite guy, even though I am. I'm good from far, but far from good. My friends will tell you that I'm one of the harshest, straight up, and more blunt type of dudes when the time requires it. With all sincerity, I am that guy that has to be lectured when I'm invited somewhere. Yo, Juan, don't be outspoken, dude. Chill out and let's just have a good time. While at the same time, when I show up to the event, I'm introduced to people who ask, hey, such and such, this is Juan. He's a dude that does X, Y, and Z, and the dude I've been telling you about. So I come with the best of both worlds. So we had this incident a few weeks ago. It's a perfect example. I got invited to a small grad party. I showed up, and it's like 20 people there. It was an honor for me to get invited. Don't get me wrong, but the time is like, it's like 7:30 p.m. All the drinks are gone. Beer, food is gone. And the party just started. So I'm kind of like, yo, what the hell? So everybody's just there kind of like twirling their thumbs, and nobody really knows each other. So out loud in a tone that's a little bit louder than what it should have been, I'm like, yo, what the hell? Nobody pitched in for anything or what? Now, I did show up with an 18-pack, even though I don't really drink, but it was definitely not going to be, that 18-pack was not going to be enough for the whole party. So my dude looks at me, the guy who invited me, he looks at me, it's like, yo, I'm going to order some pizza right now. So I'm like, you getting pizza for everyone here? I'm like, yeah, all right, cool. You get the pizza then, and I'll get the drinks. And just because I'm a jerk, I glance over to a table with the most dudes, and I ask them, yo, what kind of drinks would you guys like? And they just stared at me like if I had like another head growing out of my neck. So I said, all right, got it. Y'all look like a Mike's Hard Lemonade type of crowd. And I left quick, though. I left pretty quick. I left quick enough before I got mobbed. So long story short, my friend and I, we left. We bought cases of drinks. Stopped by to support our local street vendors. Bought out the pupusas lady and the taco guy. Whoa, the taco guy had a big inventory, so we didn't buy him out. But we still made a dent in what he had to offer. We picked up beer pong balls and cups and went back. Laid everything out for everyone to grab whatever they wanted. Yeah. Then I went to each table and I'm like, yo, there's foods, there's drinks. Go ahead and accommodate your needs. And thanks for coming out and supporting my dude who just graduated. That's pretty much what meant the most to me. Well, I don't want to say his name, though, because I don't want to embarrass Mike like that. But thanks for supporting my dude, pretty much. And then I saw a dude chilling by himself. made him my beer pong partner. I played half a game with him. I trolled the whole time because I suck at beer pong. I told another chick, yo, take my place. And this chick, she came, played the rest of the game. So a lonely dude and this girl, they were now killing it. They were undefeated the whole night. And the rest of the night was super smooth. But moral of the story is I didn't get punched in the face like I initially should have because of my remarks from earlier. But this is just an example of like me being a blessing and a curse. Now, I do know that there's a time, of course, but there is definitely a time to speak up about the situation that we are in. You know, I definitely use my best judgments to read the room. I don't want to be that guy at the same time who I speak up. I like to speak up when we're all there looking stupid. So, yeah, I was like, hey, I didn't really like the fact that many people showed up to this little graduation party and kind of came empty-handed. So I spoke up about it, kind of ruffled some feathers. But at the end, it's like, yo, don't worry about it. I'll get the food and I got the drinks. Thanks for coming out, supporting my guy. Hopefully later down the road, they don't show up empty-handed to the next party or next gathering that they have. I could go on forever about little stories, but I'll end it here. I don't want to talk about myself that much anymore. In a future episode, I will go into further depth about it. So, pun intended. Next topic, what encouraged me to start the podcast? Well, it all started back in September 2022. A friend and I, we went to 123 Farm in Beaumont just to pass the time and catch up with life and seeing how he was doing. So he had just started his career as a correctional officer or something like that. I just call him a prison guard. My dude had pending orders to work at Pelican Bay in Northern California. Shout outs to my dude. His name is Lemmy. And I saw a couch just in the middle of this little farm that was at. So, and the scene looked pretty dope. So I was like, yo, let me take a picture of me on this couch. And we made a joke reference about it looking like the casting couch. And if you don't know what a casting couch is, you know, I admire your innocence. But he takes a picture, cool little background I had posted on Instagram. And then afterwards, the idea of starting my podcast just crossed my mind like 2 minutes later after we snapped that picture on the couch with the cool little background scenery. And ever since then, I decided to pursue this goal. And also listening to other podcasts helped me come up with the idea. And throughout my life experience, I've came across many people with interesting stories to tell, and I decided to give them a platform to let their voices be heard. I love listening to people's purposes in life and hearing what it is that they stand for something or fall for nothing. So this is a place they can come and discuss what it is that keeps them going, whether it's something you want to raise awareness for or something you've learned or you just want to help others out. Hey, this is your platform. So it's the people who I've crossed paths with that encourage me to do this. And I love doing projects too, so I thought that putting a studio together would have been fun. And yes, indeed, it was fun. So next topic. Yo, it is hard to be a solo podcaster. I'm dying out of breath, but the show goes on. I think we're halfway through. We're 28 minutes in already. Let me catch my breath. Next topic. What is the back decorations on this wall? So I decided to build these floating shelves, which cost me almost literally nothing, just $18 for the brackets. It's all scrap stuff that I had laying around at a hardware store. All of these floating shelves would have been like over $100. Yes, it is crazy. Well, I just found the brackets, $18, and started to make them. So behind me are some books that were amazing reads. I won't get into it all right now. I'll release a solo episode here in the future about my favorite books and my favorite reads and what were some critical learning points that some of these books brought to my attention. And I have the podcast over my right shoulder, of course, that I made out of scrap wood. And I also make this table once again out of just scrap wood I had laying around. Now, the color scheme, there is no rhyme or reason. There is no rhyme or reason why I chose this color. It's just the colors that I had available at the time. And I feel like it was a nice, universal, timeless color. I have a jar with my father's birth date and his death date just as a memorial piece. He passed away September 2020. I have a hat that has my initials and last name on it. It's a logo. Actually, I have them right here. We were just talking about them earlier. So these are the hats that I made earlier. So this is my everyday hat. You could tell from how faded it is, but I made a ton of them. I had this hats made once I began my firearm instructing journey, career path. So I have a huge hat collection. Right now that we're talking about hats, I have a huge hat collection of all the baseball teams. But it got annoying to go out and wearing them, because if I decide to wear the Milwaukee Brewers hat or the Cardinals hat, and then I would go to the store, I would have random people at these stores or restaurants just making remarks about the team. And it was a conversation that wasn't going anywhere. So to cut that all out from the picture, not only rock my own hat, and it's to advertise myself. I had a bulk order made a while ago, and ever since then, I just keep them in rotation. Except for my work hat, I just keep that one consistent, because if not, from all the washing and wearing them out in the sun, they'll fade. And then I also wear this hat because, I cut my own hair, and 9 out of 10 times I don't do that well, but that'll be our little secret. I've been my own barber for like 4 years. So let me show y'all my little trasquiladas. So hopefully, which camera has the worst quality so y'all can't see my lines. Let me put my stuff back on. In my opinion, the barber industry became a joke after COVID. Everyone's now a celebrity barber with outrageous prices. If your barber has a gold clippers, man, forget it. So I just started cutting my own hair, and I would cut it here at home in like 30 minutes. I'm completely done, showered, and I could go about my day. So I have a random grenade too, just laying out there. It's a real grenade. And I have a Rivian truck back there that's hiding, that was gifted to me to, I like it because the Rivian community is actually, we're full of cool, adventurous people. So now let's discuss the intro song and the video. I'm not the best when it comes to using technology, but I was able to use AI to help me with the video. I uploaded the pictures and the audio, and it generated an idea. And then from there, I just started tweaking with the idea that AI gave me. And to be somewhat of what I liked, I just kept working on it. And eventually, I'm like, all right, cool, I like this. I like the fact that the pictures in them speaks volumes. It's a reflection of how out of luck, we were born in a country where chaos isn't a lifestyle, nor hunger or fear. Now, I do say this lightly before I get attacked. But we can pave our own future here in this country. In other countries, the odds are against them. Nearly 47% of the world lives in poverty. Us as Americans, we don't have to worry about that or where the food is going to be coming from every day or every night. If you're going to get attacked by opposing forces while you're sleeping, if you're going to be in a fixed marriage at a young age, not having medical services when needed. Unfortunately, we do have predators who steal the innocence of our youth. And that's a huge topic that we'll be talking about here in the future. But in other countries, it's a huge probability that it will take place, and on multiple occasions. So the images are humbling to me, and it's a reminder to not take what we have for granted. The music, there's 2 songs in the intro song. I won't say the name of them because they are part of this week's trivia, but still. They're a huge meaning in my life. Those 2 tracks, I will play them on repeat while driving home late at night or after doing whatever it was that I was doing out with friends. Whether if it was meeting up at the beach for a bonfire or just doing road trips or just getting together at whatever activities we did, those 2 tracks will always bring back nostalgic memories to me. And that's why I decided to combine them together for the intro song. And of course, I had to end the video with my dog being in the picture. He's a husky German Shepherd, Bam. The producer, the engineer, and the destroyer of everything. Now these lights are not the best professional lights. Behind the cameras, there's more lights too, but they'll suffice for the meanwhile. Now, next topic, how can you benefit as a viewer? You're probably asking yourself, why am I gonna waste my time listening to his bloke talk? Well, I'll tell you why you wanna listen to his bloke talk. And the reason why you wanna hear me talk is that if you tune in, you'll get many beneficial factors out of this podcast. There'll be a lot of good content on here, a lot of cool interesting topics and conversations. My goal is to have the viewers and myself learn from the guests that come onto this platform to teach us about whatever it is that the topic of the day will be. My goal is not to waste your time, but at least to teach you something new in every episode. If you're a small business owner, I will sponsor your company or whatever movement you have, and I will do that for free. Contact me, and we will make some arrangements on how to get your company or organization to be displayed on this back wall. We'll get you wherever we can fit you in. We'll have your little logo. So what does that mean for the people who we will sponsor? It means you will be on display for every episode, and I will also be supporting your product or your organization, and you will get a shout out, which will include a few seconds mentioning in every episode. My goal is not to sponsor big companies or big organizations, even though I do know that we can receive some monies from it, some monetary gains. I'm not in it for the money. I would rather shout out one of our up-and-coming small businesses. And my goal is to collaborate and get the viewers a small discount if possible, if they do decide to use your service, and then we'll make some arrangements from there. Now, the small discounts is, I'm not trying to take money away from small companies or small businesses, but we'll arrange something where you benefit, I benefit, the viewers benefit, the company and the seller, everybody's happy. Another way that you could benefit from this, so I got this small studio that I put together. It's like a 24 by 24. It's a huge space. So if you ever thought about starting your own podcast, I'm willing to invest in you. I have the space, I have the equipment needed, so just contact me and we'll get you started on launching your own channel. Perhaps if you're wanting to get practice and to experience what it is like to be working with a microphone and cameras, well, this is your place, so come practice here. We'll get you dialed in. And if you're an instructor or a spokesperson, come through. Practice your lectures in front of the cameras and the viewers, or practice your lectures in front of the cameras, and then we'll just review your content and your film, and we'll see what are some factors that you can work on. I'm all about self-improvement. So while you're at home, just grab a pencil, write some stuff down, make it suspenseful, and come back here when something dope hit you. As a matter of fact, you could take the mic home with you. I was in a little groove. Another service that I'm providing is, check this out. I have dozens of people who have took their own lives because of problems that they were dealing with. Suicide is not the answer. If you're dealing with issues and you need someone to speak to, I am 100% willing to be there and to be an ear for you to hear you out. Many people just want somebody to vent to, and if that will keep you around for another day, it will be my pleasure to hear you out from whatever it is that you're going through, and then we can discuss what is it that you're going through and what you need to vent about. I'm here for that. Contact me, and if you're going through some internal battles, don't hesitate. It is an uncomfortable topic to bring up for many people, but it really doesn't bother me at all, not one bit. So if we have mutual friends as well, I will keep all of this confidential. I'm not going to let nobody else know. So whatever you're going through, it dies with me. I'm not going to talk to nobody about it. Unless if it's some really crazy serious stuff, then hey, we'll with your permission, we'll arrange stuff properly. Or if you're dealing with a tragic event as well, whether if it's like a car crash or a bad breakup or loss of a significant other, and you want to talk to someone, you'll feel free to reach out. It'll be my pleasure to hear you out as well about whatever situation you're going through. And hopefully during the discussion, we can help you get some mental clarity about what it is that you're going through. If you ever find yourself in an uncomfortable situation, such as a person has been stalking you, or an ex has been making you feel uncomfortable, or you're being followed from your house to your work or wherever your destination is, and you're all shaken up about the situation, you'll reach out to me. Now, I'm not a lawyer, we all know that, or an attorney, but let's get you down the right path and taking the next proper steps, because all of these situations that I've mentioned, it's because I've been reached out to people who have been through such experiences. And I won't go into further depth about it. I'll keep it confidential, but I just know that the goal is to get you some mental clarity, get your mind back at ease. And we know that we don't make smart choices when we're panicking or under stress. So, hey, let's break it down to the foundation and let's start to build up that structure to make sure that we're making right choices, or to make sure that we understand why we're in a situation and how we could get out of it. Now, I'm not very active. I wasn't very active on social media at all. I stopped using them just because I would rather focus my time on other stuff that I had going on. And to be honest, my account was getting restricted on Instagram and I was getting flagged a lot. One of the reasons I was getting flagged was because of the content I would repost other people's story. And these people, they'll be clients that I was taking to the shooting range. They'll post on their story. They're out there practicing their drills. They're tagging me in them. They're all happy that they're getting some practice on self-defense. I would repost it. And after a while, my account would get restricted. And some of the restrictions were from 7 days, and it went up to 10 days and 14 days. Then I got like a month-long ban. So I decided just to chill out with the repost. But my shooters weren't getting flagged, which is what's pretty weird. Maybe because I was posting them a little bit more often, I was being flagged. But it was just like practicing with shooting targets and just doing simple shooting drills. And it's pretty dumb because, I mean, my content that I was reposting of people doing their drills was getting flagged, but I could go on Instagram right now and find so much explicit content. So if your kids are on Instagram, I'm concerned. Or it is what it is, but we'll talk about that in a different episode. Another reason why I steered away from social media too was because, well, I know Instagram for sure. We'll use that one as an example. That's the main one I use. There's just way too many advertisements on these platforms, and I spend more time looking at ads or being distracted by content from accounts that I don't even follow. So it's like 90% of the content that I was looking at, it wasn't even my friends. It was people who I don't even know, and then 10% of that would just be my friends. So I was seeing what my friends were getting into, and every so often I will miss so many of their stories or posts just because like I'm being distracted by other stuff. So I just kind of like let go of the whole social media for a while. I did take a break from it. 3 years ago was actually my New Year's resolution to be off of my phone as much as possible. And ever since then, I've been doing pretty well with that. I've been making great progress. But however, if you do reach out to me to discuss whatever situation you're going through, I'm changing my ways, so I will make a commitment to help you out. So don't hesitate to reach out. That's my promise. I will definitely be quicker to respond, especially on my Instagram account that I just made for the podcast. That'll be the best one that I'll use, or the one I'll be more active on, I'll say. With that said, back to the topic at hand. What to do if you're being followed, for instance. If you're being followed, don't go straight to your house. Don't call your husband, tell him, hey, husband, I'm being followed by a car. I'm coming home. No, find your local sheriff's station or your local police station. Dial 911. Let them know that you're being followed by a car and that you're heading straight to their police station. And get a good description of the vehicle. I highly recommend that everyone invests into a dash cam, but I know we still won't, even though we know why we need one. We as human beings, we don't learn. Besides that, just be the best witness that you can possibly be and help paint a good picture to the law enforcement as to who is following you, and give them a description that will allow them to be able to identify the vehicle later on down the road. So that's one of my biggest recommendations, is paint a good picture. Be a good witness. And once again, if you're a viewer with a certain topic or situation that you want to bring awareness to, this is your platform. So that's another way. Back to the topic at hand, these are the ways that you can benefit from the podcast. Now, last topic, what is the end goal of the podcast? My end goal is to educate and improve myself throughout this podcast journey. I know I'm not the best spokesperson, but hopefully in due time with more experience, that skill will move up in the ranks. I am not tech savvy, so hopefully my skills develop. And most importantly, my goal is to at least benefit the viewers in many ways. If I could record 1,000 episodes and only one of those episodes taught you something new, well, hey, in my opinion, those thousands of episodes were still worth it because I finally found something that would help you out. So let's kick it off and inspire you, motivate you to pursue better personal development skills. Let's set ourselves up for a better and successful future. Well, being a single podcaster is pretty rough and tough. So let's set ourselves up for a better and a more successful future. And if you don't want to coach people or mentor others through this platform, please do so every chance you get with any other opportunity that you get in life. Do us that favor. Let's get a domino effect going where we are leaving this society in a better shape than what we found it. My goal is to release an episode every 2 weeks, roughly, if not at least once a month. And as my skills improve, hopefully we can pump those rookie numbers up. So last topic now. Now for the quick shout outs. Special shout outs to House to Home Textiles. I do not have one decorating bone in my body, and they contributed so much to the podcast enormously. And they gave me some comfy chairs and other great furniture pieces that will help me with other studio layouts. My goal is to have 3 different layouts for the podcast. And they definitely contribute a lot. So thank you guys so much for everything. They came through and they created my place. And they came through and they created pieces to make this studio feel welcoming. So thank you for making my life so easy. They are amazing. They have amazing furniture, amazing prices, and their decorating pieces are top notch. So give them a follow on Instagram if you can at H2H Textiles. Thank you to Direct Text as well for helping me with ideas for the podcast and for being an ear to listen to a bunch of my gibberish as well. Every time I met up with mechanics, I would just have a chit chat with them and just tell them what my goal was with the podcast and my vision, and they definitely helped me out. The only mechanic service I ever use as well, they come to my house and they conduct maintenance on my vehicle whenever it is needed. So thank you guys so much for your flexibility and for working around my busy schedule. While working on my vehicles, they also educate me on what went wrong with my vehicle and how to prevent such issues from happening again in the future. You guys are definitely a game changer. Even though I dreaded doing vehicle maintenance, the fact that you just come to my house and do it, game changer. So please give them a follow on Instagram at direct.text. Direct.text. And another special shout outs for our church. I've constantly had people asking me, what is the progress on this podcast? And a few individuals who have been willing to offer their services to help me out. Having support from others is such a huge blessing, not just in producing the podcast, but in life in general. So I have people making me logos, offering to make me shirts and help me with the media and just learning about it. So thank you guys all so much from the church who helped be with me during this journey. In the Woods podcast as well, thank you so much for helping me out. They honestly helped me out with all the questions and doubts that I had about doing my own podcast. Also, always willing to help me out is such a blessing. And they let me go into their studio, learn what is it that they're doing, and it's pretty cool. And I still reach out to them from time to time. Am I doing this correct? Or, hey, I'm going through this. What's the next step from here? So thank you guys for In the Woods podcast. Friends are amazing. I love it when you're able to reach out to someone and be like, hey, dude, can I ask you for a favor? And right away, they're like, done. It's like, whoa, what an amazing blessing. I ain't even told you what I needed, but right away, they're showing their dedication, their commitment to getting me going with whatever it is that I need. So thank you guys so much for being there with me for this whole journey. And thank you guys for the viewers for tuning into my intro episode of this upcoming podcast, which is called In Further Depth. I'll be on YouTube for the meanwhile, and then jump on other platforms such as Spotify, Podbean, and many more. I can be reached on Instagram at jcabrerafella. And I just made an account for the podcast on Instagram as well. I will be more active on that. If you guys want to follow, cool. If not, no harm, no foul. The podcast Instagram will be called In Further Depth Podcast. And I only launched it because the podcast has such a common name, and I feared someone else was going to steal the name. So I immediately just went through and just made the account. So send me your feedback on what are some stuff that I can work on. Please, that's the main thing I ask for of you guys. I'm huge on receiving criticism. I don't care too much about advertising this, if I'm being honest. I'm not pursuing the subscribers, the comments, the shares, or the likes. I don't care too much about I feel like I gotta give you some really good content before I can request such favors. And another reason is I just never like getting attention. So it's pretty odd that I even plan on being a podcaster. And there's another short story that I want to share with you guys. I read it and I want to tell you guys about it. So let me find it over here. So while we're ending this podcast, I want to leave you guys with this story. So it's a story of two wolves. An old Cherokee told his grandson, "Hey son, there's a battle between two wolves inside of us all. One wolf is evil. It is anger, jealousy, greed, resentment, inferiority, lies, and ego. The other is good. It is joy, peace, love, hope, humility, kindness, empathy, and truth." So the boy thought about it and asked, "Yo, grandfather, well, which wolf wins this battle?" And the grandfather just quietly replied, "The one that you feed." So with that in mind, let's work on being better people. Let's work on leaving the society better than what we found it in. You know, we're always complaining about stuff. So instead of complaining, now let's just be the solution. So until next time, though, I'll keep you guys posted on YouTube, on Instagram, as to when I'm going to be dropping content ahead of time. And thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Thank you. Far too kind.
And so pretty much that wraps it up. You know, I've covered what is the objective of the podcast, what encouraged me to start a podcast, the summary of my background wall decorations and the setup. And I gave you guys a quick, brief intro as to who I am, how you can benefit as a viewer from the podcast, and the extended services that we can offer for you, and what is my end goal of the journey. So cheers to a new hobby. I promise to be working on this podcast daily and coming up with new content. So now we're about to cut loose because we're going to go have breakfast with some friends. We're going to the Victoria Gardens and catch up with some friends that I haven't seen in a while. You know, it's crazy how fast time passes by. Yes, indeed, it is crazy. And Kanye is going to be going out to eat with us eat with us too. Yo, Kanye, what you going to have for breakfast?
Fish fillet.
You're crazy. Go, you're weird, Kanye. Go back in your hole, you guys. All right, pues. We are out.
Cut the tape. Knife.
All right, you guys. So as promised, this right here is Bam. Earlier today, or a few days ago, I forgot to introduce him to you guys like I promised I would. So Bam, is there anything you want to say to the people? Yeah, some funny looking people, aren't they? So this right here is our music engineer, our photographer, our camera guy, the light guy, all of the above. And there was a lot of things I forgot to mention in the last episode, but I think every 6 months I'm going to release another solo episode where we'll do the same prizes and the music stuff and the music clips at the same time. We will do Q&A as well. So thank you guys for tuning in. And from Bam and I, we are out. Deuces.